I am
So here we go.
ready.
Okay, sounds good. So first of all, Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents to become shining light parents by providing support and resources to aid in the healing process. We go a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and evidence for the afterlife in a non-dogmatic way. Affiliate groups welcome everyone regardless of religious or non-religious background and allow for open dialogue. Attendance today at the Helping Parents Heal meeting is voluntary, and we are here for the benefit of learning from and sharing with other parents whose child has passed away. It is understood that our discussions are intended to be confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers to allow parents to be informed about many possible ways to heal, to connect with their children, and to learn about the afterlife. The views expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of Helping Parents Heal, and we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. And so with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Mabel as well. Mabel Chan was born and raised in Hong Kong when it was a British colony. She trained as a clinical social worker in the U.S.A, and she and her husband moved to Canada in the early 1980s and now live in British Columbia. As a young student, Mabel's school curriculum included the study of ancient Chinese literature, the Bible, and the works of Shakespeare. She has traveled the world, learning to embrace all cultures, and she considers her son Leo to be her greatest teacher. She shares his messages with the wish that they will bring comfort, hope, and healing to those with loved ones across the veil. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mabel Chan.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's such an honor to be here with you and with all these lovely parents. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here.
So Mabel, first of all, I'd love for you to tell a little bit about your journey, about Leo, and then about your inspiration for writing this new book.
Great question and a long answer. Wow, Leo is our only child. He came to us in 1992 in the summer. He's a Leo astrologically. So we just celebrated his 28th birthday this past Monday on August 10th. He was here in this human world for 19 years and a few months. It was, of course, the most life-shattering and heartbreaking experience when he suddenly and unexpectedly returned to the spirit realm when he was only 19 years old and a few months. He was at university in Victoria, which is not the same city as where we are now living. He just returned to school after Christmas. And it was exactly two weeks after my birthday that he suddenly, one night, he called me at 9:30 and said, "Mom, I have to call 911. And we thought he was just being cautious. He has always been very cautious and clean. So we thought, yes, ask someone to get a taxi and take you there. We could never have imagined that by the next day when we got over to Victoria, we found him in the ICU in an induced coma. And 5 days later, we had to give permission for him to go. It's still very hard even talking about it now. It's too surreal, as all of you know, all of you who have children left this world before us. And his human life was taken by bacterial meningococcal disease. The symptoms, as I later learned, of this meningitis, it's actually, it has a lot of similarities with what COVID-19 symptoms have. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that. So what is it next that you want me to tell you? Elizabeth. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I would love for you to, I'm just seeing that there are some people that are having trouble getting into the room. And so because I'm doing two jobs at once, it's a little hard. But anyway, what I was going to say is that I would love for you to talk about the inspiration for the Infinite Bond. And maybe you'd like to talk about his foundation. I mean, obviously now that you've done so much work for other people, it's wonderful to be able to know that she's in now, which is good, that Leo's legacy lives on. So could you tell us a little bit about his foundation first, and then the inspiration for the book?
I would try to tell you all about what happened that I think are important as part of his legacy. He lives on, definitely. All our children live on. That's the most important message that I've got, that there is no death. They've only changed forms. So as soon as he went back to the light, we almost started getting messages from him, signs and synchronicities, what I call, almost immediately. And CK, my husband and I have decided that whatever we're going to do in life, until the day we have to leave, we're going to do things to honor our son. And the first thing that we had to do was to make sure that, or try to make sure that no other family have to go through the same kind of pain that we did. We started raising awareness about this fatal meningococcal disease, which is actually meningitis. Because without awareness, you cannot do anything about it. He was so cautious, he even asked 2 doctors before he went to university. He was 6 feet tall, swimmer's body, very handsome, very polite. He would bow and ask the doctors, I'm going to university. What kind of shot do I need to protect myself? And I remember both times I was standing next to him, and those doctors would look up to him and say, you don't need anything. When they actually knew that there has been a vaccine since 2006, and he passed in January 2012. So I want to spare this pain, spare anybody, any mom and dad this pain, if I can. So we raised awareness. He put the right people on our path. And it was a miracle when 4 years later, the British Columbia legislature adopted this meningitis quadrivalent vaccine as part of the inoculation, the standard inoculation program. And since then, all the grade 9 kids have been and are being vaccinated to protect them from 4 strains of meningitis.
This is wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about your interaction with Suzanne Giesemann, who I think almost everybody here knows, and how she was able to bring Leo through to you and to kind of make this whole journey so much easier. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about that?
I know we have some time. That's why I try to tell what I feel is important. I know I haven't really answered your question about the foundation. Actually, we don't have an official foundation yet because we feel that there are other things that are more urgent to deal with. And of course, I would talk about Suzanne Giesemann. She's incredible. She's incredible. I think everybody knows her. Everybody who is on HPH knows about her. And when Leo passed so suddenly, I heard from him, but I was doubtful. I wasn't sure. And I was looking around. I traveled halfway around the world with my husband to look for somebody who can connect me with my son clearly. And I finally had to ask Leo to find somebody for us, to guide us to somebody. And he did. I was just on my laptop one day and her website popped up. She was already very busy at that time with a 2-year waiting period. But anyway, I wrote her and she graciously gave me a reading, our first evidential reading. I remember it was Thanksgiving, the American Thanksgiving. And Leo came through clear as day, as she would call it. His personality, his articulation of words, just stunning evidence. And the piece that really stunned us and her is she gave us something that we didn't even know, that we had to validate later, about a banner that was hanging in the university main dining room when his friends were raising awareness about meningitis. So I have to say that this first reading and the subsequent readings really contributed to the healing. It's great to have signs and synchronicities from our children, but I think having a really good evidential reading from a medium like her or other really good ones, that contributes to the healing. That gives us the peace to know that our children, our son is not gone. We can always reach him and he can always reach us. And Suzanne Giesemann called that trans-dimensional communication. She wrote a foreword for me in my new book, The Infinite Bond. And it's really a brilliant piece, right? And it graced my book right at the beginning, a wonderful start for the book. And she validates with her readings what I was getting from Leo. So do you want to hear about some of the signs and validations?
That would be wonderful. And maybe people who are on tonight will be able to identify with some of those signs and validations that you've written about in your book, which is a very beautiful book.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you for your review that I've posted. And for me, you and all the parents on Helping Parents Heal are the ones who need this kind of reassurance that can relate to what I can talk about in the book. Nobody else. The parents like us, whose children are gone before us, gone with quotes. I was sharing blog posts with Helping Parents Heal since I wrote for the blog on Leo's website 2 years ago, and I got nudged last year around his birthday in August. Mom, turn them into a book. They can help people. And this time I didn't hesitate. I know that it is something that I have to do. So the book is going to be launched. It will be released in 4 days on the 18th. And it's about my personal experience with the communication from our son Leo. They come so consistently and repeatedly that I cannot deny that they are real. And one thing that make them real is the feeling, what I feel in my heart every time I get the sign and the validation. It gives me peace. I feel love. I feel surrounded, immersed in Leo's love and comfort. And that's what I wish for everyone who reads the book, to get this kind of hope and healing, hope, knowing that our children are closer to us than ever. They always want to tell us how much they love us. And to get that healing, to move on, to not to forget them, but to carry forward, to honor them. So the signs are, a lot of you would have also received signs like the light. I get golden light from Leo. Outdoors when it's cloudy, during a ceremony. It would be cloudy and dark, and all of a sudden, the golden light stream in, at least for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I get the light in my closet activated by itself. I was talking with my editor one morning about the images that we want on the book cover, the colors that we want. And she was messaging me with the images. All of a sudden, I saw the lights flashing. I know it's Leo alerting me. I'm here, Mom. I'm here, Mom. And then when I acknowledge it, the flashing stopped and the light stayed on while I was talking in real time with my editor. The birds, the big ones like the eagles, small ones like the hummingbirds, animals like the deer, the buck, the young black bear, all these I wrote in the book. The numbers, the number sequences, the 810, which is his birthday, and the exact time of his passing. I couldn't make that up. The couple that was sitting next to us on the 10th of August, on Monday night, having dinner. We had a brief conversation with him. We found that he shares the same birthday with Leo, 810. You just can't make these things up. Everything, words that come through people's writing. What else, CK? Remind me. Is Lisa here? Lisa Wilcoxon? She says she'll be here.
I'm not sure if Lisa's on or not. I haven't seen her join, but I was going to say, it would be wonderful to open it up to everyone and find out about some of the amazing things. First of all, Alicia is saying it's amazing that you were able to get regulations for vaccines to change. Congratulations. I have wanted to do something in my daughter's name, big. However, only small opportunities to help others have come up. Any suggestions on how to find ways to memorialize our children? So,
there are many ways. Did you say, what's your name, my dear?
This is Alicia, and she's in Chicago. She's our affiliate leader, actually.
Oh, I was in Chicago many times when I was in school there. Alicia, first of all, thank you. And what happened is, at that time, I thought I won't be able to do anything to change the legislation. I don't know any politicians. I'm not famous or rich or anybody that they would pay attention to. But you know what? I set the intention. I set the intention that I never want that to happen to another family. And setting intention is very important. And I started talking about what happened to everybody that I run into. I could be in a store. I could be on a walking trail. Anybody that I met and who is willing to listen, I'll tell them about what happened to Leo. And you know what? He placed people on our path. Eventually, somebody, a local politician, came to me and told me that she has been trying to raise this issue at the legislature, but she was shut down twice. So we talked to her, we gave her our blessing, and said to her, do it again. And this time, it went through. So it took time. It's not going to happen fast. We have to be very, very patient. You can do a lot of things to honor your child. We planted trees. We set up a scholarship at the university. That was the first thing that we did. He knows that not everybody can get a 4-year scholarship like he did. So with the money that people sent along with their condolences around the world, we gave all that money to put it into a scholarship in perpetuity to honor our son. Trees, you can plant trees, living beings, and lots of magic happened at Leo's trees. I was able to meet with a lot of people and share about Leo's life and Leo's story. You know, many, many things. And all it takes is, but first of all, we have to be calm. We have to be able to be still and hear and be patient, and the messages will come to you.
Well, we have a lot of people talking about different things that they've done for their kids. Dolores is saying that she was finally able to start a music scholarship in her son's name. It took 3 years, and she was very grateful that it happened. Allison, she's in Australia, and she's our new affiliate leader there. She talks about electrical influences, flashing lights on and off, not just flickering, birds, butterflies, moths flying around me when I think of my son, as well as Joyce is saying coins and feathers seem to be the signs of choice for my daughters, also license plates, which are wonderful. I would love to just say that this reminds me that when Morgan's birthday came last year, we live right next to this beautiful park that you know of where his bench is, his and Chelsea's bench are. And it was pretty amazing because we went hiking on his birthday in that park. And we always see wildlife, but it's very, very rare to see one certain animal in that park. And that is a bobcat. And the day that we hiked was the first time ever that birthday that we have not only had a bobcat it crossed the path and then it came over and it walked straight up to us. I could not believe seeing this wildcat. So I'm saying bobcat, but actually Morgan was a cheerleader at the University of Arizona, and it's the University of Arizona Wildcats. So that was their mascot. So for me to see this bobcat, which we call a wildcat here as well, just come walking straight up to us, and we have pictures of it from last year. It was pretty amazing. So those kind of things are always amazing. And let's see, Kristen is saying I had the same experience. I set the intention about raising awareness of the events that led to my son's death, and my son Will placed people in my path, which is what you were saying, at every turn. It's magical. Iris is saying, today I asked my daughter for a sign about moving. I looked at my phone and it was 1111, which is all about new beginnings and that the universe has opened an energy doorway. So I'm sure that she took that as a good sign. Dolores again is saying the signs we receive are blessings. Yes, our children are with us. License plates are big, which is true. Always fun.
You know,
and Allison is saying,
do you remember?
Oh, go ahead.
When we were with you? All the way when as soon as we step off the airplane, the airport, we saw the 888s. 888 is one of the calling codes, as I wrote in the book. 888 all the way. And then when we were driving to see you, the 303, there's another calling code, meaning, Mom, I'm right here with you and Dad. And we were walking to Morgan and Chelsea's bench, and that butterfly that was leading the way, remember? That one particular butterfly? Everything was showing that here with us. And my heart was palpitating as I was nearing the bench, and I felt all their energy. Morgan, Chelsea, Leo, Andre, all the names that I didn't even know. They were so excited that we were getting together.
Well, I just have to say that this spot that we have our bench, there are 3 benches there, but Suzanne Giesemann and Suzanne Wilson came to the dedication that we did for the benches. And it was very special because both of these amazing psychic mediums, evidential mediums, work with Helping Parents Heal, and it was the first day that they'd ever met each other. But we had a ceremony there, and they could visualize all of the kids in marble bleachers that had been built all around the top of that mountain, with all of the kids there. And they were all cheering us on for this bench dedication. And so I think that what is pretty incredible is that, of course, Morgan and Chelsea were there, and Andre and Leo, but all of our kids are always with us. And they are working as a team to be able to help us move forward and heal. And what's always fun about these meetings is that they're always on these meetings with us as well.
Yeah, here right now, you see, the more I talk, the more excited I get. It's always like this, when they are around me, my son is around me, I am in ecstasy. I suddenly get this surge of energy that I usually don't have. They're right here.
And Christine is saying, so beautiful, they are a team. They are a team. All of our kids are a team. Allison is saying, such amazing signs. We get sent seahorse signs, which is beautiful. Live ones, jewelry pictures. My son loved seahorses as a child. Deb is saying Phoebe and the Garretts are all together. And of course, these are kids who are all part of our group here in Arizona, and they're absolutely wonderful. But Babette is saying that Daniel sends her red frogs. I've never seen a red frog before, but that's pretty amazing if you get red frogs from your son. How exciting. And Dolores is saying we had a glow stick that had been in his room for 3 years actually light up on its own, which is pretty amazing, just in time for Mother's Day and his angelversary. So those are all amazing signs. Tree frogs. Okay, so these are tree frogs, Babette is specifying. So maybe you can just tell a little bit more about your book, though. I know that you spent time talking to Suzanne as well, and she did the introduction for the book. The book is really beautifully written because it details all of these different things about the 8s, obviously, about the 303, which actually means 303, so mom that way, right? Is that right? Yeah. So, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about some of the significant signs that you've gotten from Leo.
Well, the 8 is the infinity sign.
Yes.
The 8, and it's, if you look at the 8 on the side, is a double loop that's closed. And I was just told that some women who can communicate with whales and dolphins are saying that's the most important sign that we can get these days. And today I'm wearing this necklace with an infinity sign. He led me into a very high-end jewelry store and got this. And that's because soon after his transition, I kept seeing the 8s. I would see 888 like 6 times within a few hours. You don't usually get to see even 1, much less 6. And I was wondering, what's going on? What's going on? And then I realized it's a sign for infinity. Infinity. And I remember when he was a very young child, one day he was suddenly behind me. I was relaxing on the couch, reading or doing something. I heard him say, "Mom, our mother and son bond will never be broken." I mean, I've always heard him talk things, say things like an adult, this 8-year-old behind my back. So I didn't even bother to turn around and ask him, "What do you mean?" But I thought to myself, what does he know about bond? A bond. So I didn't say anything and let it go. And he said it a few times, to me. I had no clue what it means. And of course now I know, especially after his transition with the number 8, he's talking about our infinite bond. And so the first thing that came to me, and I think it's from my soul, from my heart, is this name, the infinite bond, the infinite bond. So I said, okay, this is going to be the name of this book, the infinite bond. The infinite bond that I have with my son, the infinite bond that you have with your child, with your children.
That's beautiful. So tell me, I know CK's there because I can hear him. Would he like to talk to us at all? It would be fun to have him say something about Leo and about his journey.
Yeah, sure. It's a partnership. We're working together. Mom and Dad and Leo are working as a team to serve. Come over, please. He's a bit shy. Sit here.
Hello, CK. It's good to see you. So I would love to hear about what you have to say about Leo and all of these signs, and obviously you are part of the video as well, which is wonderful. But could you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Leo right now and how things?
Give him a cushion.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
It's too hard on the old knees,
No.
Come on.
Yeah.
We are both older.
Actually, I would just like to add to the fact that I'm a fellow traveler on this journey. And then we have gone through transformation, I would say. Definitely the bond with our son is the basis of all the things. The thing that I would add would be that unless we keep our eyes open and we keep you will know. It's almost like it will come to you. You are cognizant of the fact. Because when you're on your car and you're driving, of course, as a good driver, you will keep your eyes on the road and the things. But in case you open up your mind, things would pop to you. Like quite recently, as I was driving, I catch the plate of a car with DAD standing for dad. And that gives me such a lot of joy because I feel I am communicating, or Leo is communicating with me with that sign. Because you don't run into that type of sign all the time. It just pops up. And in case you are cognizant of it, then there's such a lot of joy in the process.
So when you get those signs, you always say thank you, right?
Yes, always.
Which is wonderful. And yes, Leo is a wonderful communicator, and you can tell that from the book as well, which is so.
Well, he is the one who inspires me. It's all called inspired writing.
Yeah.
I would never have written anything like that. I've never dreamt of being an author, never. But I know it's for the highest good. So I thought, I would do it, son. Help me, guide me. And he did.
That's wonderful. I have a question in the chat box, and I just have to quickly answer. Babette is saying, Elizabeth, I've heard you say that you hear our children at these meetings. What do you hear exactly? I have to say what I hear. I have had ringing in my ears ever since Morgan passed, but only specifically when I am around the kids. And so every time that I am a part of one of these meetings, I have this high-pitched ringing in my ears that I have since understood is the kids trying to just tell me that they're here. But the important thing about that is that I've explained in some of the other meetings that they are always a part of these meetings. And Carol Allen, who has a group in Cave Creek, would have meetings at her home. And one time, a gentleman whose son had just passed very recently, who was actually, he figured out that he was a medium almost immediately after his son passed. He was having communication with him. It was pretty incredible. He and his wife came to the meeting, and they have since come a lot of times since. But we had lots and lots of people at that meeting. We had about 35 parents who were there, and we were all sharing. We were going around in a circle. He was the first one to share. And when he shared, he talked about the fact that he was talking to his son, that he felt that his son was actually there that evening, that his son was happy that he was there. And then we went around, and at the end of the meeting, he told me that he didn't want to, there were a lot of people laughing and smiling during the meeting, because we always do in our meetings. And at the end of the meeting, he turned to me and he told me, I didn't want to interrupt, but my son kept telling me, tell her. And what he wanted to tell me was that all of these kids were together, and that they were high-fiving each other every time that the parents would smile. And I could feel that energy. I knew the kids were there, but to imagine that image of all of these kids high-fiving each other every time that one of us smiles is just so beautiful, because I know that that's exactly what they want to do, is to allow us.
I agree with you 100%. Leo loves to smile. He loves to have fun. And the message that I keep getting is enjoy, have fun. You know, I like you, I have that high ringing in my ears. I have the tingling all over. And most of all is that search of high energy. You know, so it's
well, and they're very, very excited when we get together. I think that that's one of the things that they love most, besides maybe being together with all of their family, seeing them together on holidays and things like that. Knowing that we're together and that we are moving forward and being able to heal is something that's very important. And Deb is saying, Deb was at that meeting actually. Oh yes, that was such a good meeting. I think it was Christmas time. It might have been last December that we had that meeting. But yes, they are always present with us when we have these meetings, but just in general, our kids are with us all the time. Joan is saying, I see 222 always. It is the time of Michael's birth, which is beautiful. And I would assume that 222 also has an angel significance. And I'm sure that you've probably looked that up, Joan, but if you look it up under angel number, I'm sure that 222 is something that's very special and a message for you as well. But anyway, so Mabel and CK, I'm just so happy that you have been able to finish this book. It's going to come out in 4 days, is that right?
18th.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting for you. I'm very happy that this is happening. I'm just reading Dolores is finding out what the angel significance is for 222. And also that it'll be available, I would assume, on Amazon. Is that right?
Yes, Amazon.com, Amazon.ca. Even in India, it'll be available.
Well, yes, I'm sure it'll be available everywhere if it's on Amazon, which is good.
Yes.
And so Mary's asking how she can find the book, but it will be, it's called The Infinite Bond, and it will be available, obviously, in just a few days, which is exciting. I know that
if you pre-order today, it will be delivered to you automatically onto your Kindle app, you know, on your device. But we can put that, I can put that, or can you put that link there?
Yes, I will definitely put the link.
Yeah, so it's
So
easy.
there's already a link that's available for the book, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that's very exciting. And I was just going to see if anybody has any questions for Mabel and CK. Possibly, if you do, then I would love to ask them. And if not, then we can look forward to reading that when it comes out. I've already read it. Let's see. Oh, Kristen is asking how you found a publisher. How did you do that?
You know, I don't have a publisher. I do self-publishing.
On Amazon.
I don't have a backup of a big publishing company because I'm not a celebrity. But I believe that we don't need a big publishing company. So I found myself an editor. I had to pay an editor, a book cover designer, and then have Kindle Direct Publishing publish it for me. It's quite a long process. I learned a lot along the way, but it's worth it when it's to honor your child and to serve others. Because my wish, the whole purpose of writing this book is to provide healing and hope.
So Dolores is asking, and I would assume that this is something that you would be able to tell her, and maybe Dolores is writing her own book, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find an editor, and do you recommend anyone? Dolores is actually an affiliate leader and a caring listener, so she has a lot to write about if she is writing a book. But anyway, could you?
This is actually Leo sent me, nobody would believe it, but I think anything that is unbelievable is believable. When I was nudged by Spirit to create a website, I thought, oh yes, you guys are going to help me out. I can write, but I don't have the technical skills. That was over 2 years ago. I kid you not, I was lying on my bed before I woke up. All of a sudden, I heard this voice loud and clear, the name of a person. And I know when I woke up, I remember. Usually I don't remember. I remember this name. And I only knew one person with that name. So I wrote to her and I said, do you create websites? I was asked to ask you. And I waited a few days and she called me back and said, I will work with you. So she created a website working along with me. And this time I went to her and she said she can do editing too. So that's how I was led to somebody.
So could you give us her name? Is that something that you would share with everyone?
I would prefer that. Yeah, it's in the book. I acknowledge the editor.
Okay.
It's in
Okay,
the
good.
acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, that's great. So we'll be able to find out about that.
But let me
Babette is asking another question. She's asking if you channel Leo or do you just write about the signs in the book?
I would say I don't know much about channeling. I would call it inspired writing because when I started to write, it will flow and flow. But it still comes through me with my human filters. And I always ask him to guide me. And sometimes when I go back and read it, I said, I wrote that. I wrote that. I know I'm a pretty good writer, even though English is not my first language, believe it or not. But you know, these are things that must have come through my human mind with divine help. So
With help from Leo,
Leo
which is wonderful. So it's going to be available in 4 days. Does anybody have any other questions for Mabel and CK that you can think of? And I'm just so happy that you all were able to be here on a Friday evening when most people have lots of other things to do. Although it's hard to...
I have to add one thing. I'm not a medium like Suzanne, but I do hear my son very clearly. Initially, even with the voice, but now it's the telepathy. I remember one thing that he told me very clearly in his own voice. Listen to Dad, listen to Dad. That was when I was so distraught I didn't want to live. I couldn't get up. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. And I remember him telling me, this has already happened. There's nothing you could do to bring him back in his human body. That sounded very, very cruel to me at that time. But he said, but you can choose how you respond to this. This is what's going to make a difference. I wasn't happy hearing that. But now when I look back, this is exactly how we have to deal with it. We cannot bring them back in the physical bodies. But what we're going to do to honor them, how we're going to respond.
And also they are with us every step of the way. They're always with us. And yes, very good advice, Dad. Mabel, listen to Dad. That's what Paula's saying. So Allison is saying, what are you going to do next? And I just want to let Allison know that actually Mabel is going to be starting a Chinese language speaking group of Helping Parents Heal that's going to be online, which is very exciting. And I'm thrilled about it because I know that this is something that's going to be helping a lot of people. I don't know if anyone here knows, but my husband had offices over in China and Hong Kong and actually in Taiwan as well for quite some time. And so we have lots and lots of wonderful friends over there. And I'm very, very excited about this. So that's one of the things. What else are you planning to do to answer Allison?
Anything that we can do to help the activities of helping parents heal. I guess, we're committed.
He's the one who does all the cooking, shopping, I couldn't have written the book without him. He's the one who fed me with all the food.
I'm the backup person.
So he still has a lot of work to do.
Well, Mabel is very lucky to have you, CK. My goodness gracious, what a wonderful thing to have such a supportive husband. And it was truly such a wonderful thing to have both of you here and to spend time with you when you came. And they actually came to spend a little time here, and they spent time in Sedona as well. And we have affiliate leaders in Sedona as well,
yes,
that they were able to hike with, which is wonderful. So
it was
wonderful experience.
Leslie and Jean-Marc, and that was a really nice thing that they were able to spend time.
It was so
while they were here.
unforgettable that I wrote, and now it's a chapter in the book called The Magic of Sedona.
Yes, Sedona is very magical. If anybody here has been to Sedona, I think that most people from Arizona have spent time in Sedona, but I had never really been there. I'd never even heard of it before I moved to Arizona, and it is one of the most magical places that I've ever been. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Well,
I'm glad you
imagine when you read that chapter in the book. And
yes.
one thing I want to add is, I know that Leo said that to me. Everyone who is reading the book will feel his love, will feel his warmth and his blessings, especially to navigate these tumultuous times. Thank you, Leo.
Yes, I agree with you. We need that kind of healing in these times, and it is a beautiful book, and I truly appreciate you guys being here. Thank everyone for being here as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what we're going to do is go ahead and allow everybody to unmute themselves and say goodbye. Let me make sure that I can. Let's see. There we go. Now everybody can unmute yourself. Have to do a button on here before people can. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Blessings
Have a
to
wonderful
you. Evening.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Mabel
Bye.
and CK.
Bye-bye.